great to see everybody on this beautiful, beautiful day in Washington, D.C. Some people say the swamp, but I will not say that today. I refuse. This is too important, what we're doing. One of the most important deals and the most important trade deal we've ever made by far. I want to thank Senator Joni Ernst for being here. Joni, thank you very much. Of Iowa, and I'll be there very soon. We'll be doing something very important in Iowa, but this is maybe more important than all of it put together, right, Joni? So I want to thank you for being here. Congressman Holding, Congressman Rowe, Congressman Newhouse, and Congressman Meadows, thank you all for being here. We very much appreciate it. You've been very instrumental. Thank you. I'm thrilled to speak to the American people to share truly historic news for our nation and indeed for the world. I want to thank Vice President Pence for joining us this morning. It's my great honor to announce that we have successfully completed negotiations on a brand new deal to terminate and replace NAFTA and the NAFTA trade agreements with an incredible new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement called USMCA. It sort of just works. MCA. USMCA. And that'll be the name, I guess, that 99% of the time we'll be hearing, USMCA. Has a good ring to it. I have long contended that NAFTA was perhaps the worst trade deal ever made. Since NAFTA's adoption, the United States racked up trade deficits totaling more than $2 trillion, and it's a much higher number than that. With Canada and Mexico, it lost vast amounts of money and lost 4.1 million manufacturing jobs and 1 in 4 auto jobs. Lost about 25% of our auto jobs, even more than that. Throughout the campaign, I promised to renegotiate NAFTA, and today we have kept that promise. But for 25 years as a civilian, as a businessman, I used to say, how could anybody have signed a deal like NAFTA? And I watched New England and so many other places where I was, just the factories were leaving, the jobs were leaving, people were being fired, and we can't have that. So we have negotiated this new agreement based on the principle of fairness and reciprocity. To me, it's the most important word in trade because we've been treated so unfairly by so many nations all over the world, and we're changing that. We just signed a much better deal with South Korea. We had a horrible, horrible deal, and we just signed that at United Nations, and that's worked out well, and they're happy, we're happy. It's good for jobs, good for a lot of things. When that deal was signed, they said 250,000 jobs will be given by signing this transaction, and they were right. I've said it before, they were right. 250,000 jobs to South Korea, not to the United States. So that's changed, and very much for the better, and this one is a brand new deal. The agreement will govern nearly $1.2 trillion in trade, which makes it the biggest trade deal in the United States history. I want to congratulate U.S. Trade Representative Bob Lightheiser, who has worked. Nobody understands how hard he's worked. No matter when you called him, he was in the office, or he was in somebody else's office doing the same thing. Bob Lightheiser is great. I've heard it for years. I said, if I ever do this, I want to get Lightheiser to represent us, because he felt the way I did. And the entire team at the USTR standing behind me, and some right here in the audience. I want to thank you all. Fantastic job. Peter Navarro, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you. Fantastic group of people. They love our country. I also want to thank Secretary Mnuchin, Secretary Ross, Secretary Nielsen, Secretary Perdue, Jared Kushner, Peter Navarro, and the United States Ambassador to Canada, Kelly Craft. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much. I also want to thank President Peña Nieto of Mexico, who we had a few disagreements, but I really like him a lot. I think he may like me, I'm not sure. But I think he's a terrific person, and he'll be leaving soon, but he's really done a good job, and wonderful, wonderful person. And the Mexican president-elect, Lopez Obrador, who has given his support to this agreement, and we're developing a really good relationship, which I think is very important for our country, frankly, and for Mexico. And so they worked together on this. This was done by both. I said, look, I don't want to sign an agreement, and then a new president comes in, they don't like it, and we have difficulty. They worked very much together on it, and I appreciate it from both. I have to certainly give my highest regards to Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. A lot of stories came out about Justin and I having difficulty together, and we did over the trade deal. But I'll tell you, it's turned out to be a very, very good deal for both, and a very, very good deal for all three. It puts us in a position that we've never been in before. It's very good when you look at the world and what the world is doing, and when you look at the unfair trade practices that countries are using against the United States. This is a terrific deal for all of us. Once approved by Congress, this new deal will be the most modern, up-to-date, and balanced trade agreement in the history of our country, with the most advanced protections for workers ever developed. If you look at the reviews, people that would normally not under any circumstances say good things, because automatically they have to say bad. Even some Democrats say that's amazing. We had some, they haven't been given the sound bites yet, I guess, Mike. But actually you had some Democrats say this is really amazing if he really got all of that. But by tomorrow I would suspect they'll change their tune. But that's okay, because people know how good it is. It's an amazing deal for a lot of people. Likewise, it will be the most advanced trade deal in the world, with ambitious provisions on the digital economy, patents, very important, financial services, and other areas where the United States has a strong competitive advantage. Mexico and Canada have agreed to strong new labor protections, environmental protections, and new protections for intellectual property. So important. This new deal is an especially great victory for our farmers. Our farmers have gone through a lot over the last 15 years. They've been taken advantage of by everybody. Prices have gone way down, and we're working on some other deals that are going to make them very happy also. But this is a very, very big deal for our farmers. Mexico and Canada will be opened up a lot more than they are now. And I think there'll be a better spirit between the three countries, which is important for our farmers. The agreement will give our farmers and ranchers far greater access to sell American-grown produce in Mexico and in Canada. The deal includes a substantial increase in our farmers' opportunities to export American wheat, poultry, eggs, and dairy, including milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, and ice cream, to name a few. I want to be very specific. I want to be very specific, right? And many other products, but those products were not really being treated fairly as far as those that worked so hard to produce them, and now they're going to be treated fairly. These measures will support many hundreds of thousands of American jobs. This is also a historic win for American manufacturers and American auto workers who have been treated so badly. We've lost so many jobs over the years under NAFTA. Under the current New Deal, and if you look at the current NAFTA deal, the New Deal is taking care of all of these problems because NAFTA, foreign companies have been allowed to manufacture many of their parts overseas, ship them to Mexico and Canada for assembly, and send their foreign-made cars into the United States with no tax. So we let all our people go, we fire everybody, they make cars, they make products, they make everything in another country, they send them into the United States, no tax. And the cost is very little different, sometimes it's more for those people that like to talk about cost. With this agreement, we are closing all of these terrible loopholes. They're closed. They're gone. They were a disaster. For example, we are requiring a large portion of every car to be made by high-wage workers, which will greatly reduce foreign outsourcing, which was a tremendous problem, and means more auto parts and automobiles will be manufactured inside the United States. We will be manufacturing many more cars. And our companies won't be leaving the United States, firing their workers and building their cars elsewhere. There's no longer that incentive. Before, under the NAFTA deal, they had that incentive. They have the opposite incentive now. We're not going to be losing our companies. That was, to me, the most important thing. I don't want to see our companies leave and fire our workers, and our workers never get jobs to replace those jobs. Those days are over. This deal will also impose new standards requiring at least 75% of every automobile to be made in North America in order to qualify for the privilege of free access to our markets. And that's what it is. It's a privilege. We don't take it as a privilege. We don't take it as a privilege. It's a privilege for them to do business with us. And I'm not talking about Mexico. I'm talking about everybody. Everybody. It's a privilege for China to do business with us. It's a privilege for the European Union, who has treated us very badly, but that's coming along, to do business with us. Japan, every country, it's a privilege for them to come in and attack the piggy bank. In this, we will have a result of much more happening right here in the United States. It means, more than anything else, far more American jobs, and these are high-quality jobs. There are also strong provisions to enforce what's called the rules of origin requirements. This will incentivize billions of dollars in new purchases of U.S.-made automobiles. Once approved, this will be a new dawn for the American auto industry and for the American auto worker. They will see. They understand. They voted for us in large numbers, even though their leadership always goes Democrat. A couple of them said to me, I don't know how I can do it again. Many of them, the leaders would back Democrats and would tell me, you're going to get most of the votes from union workers. And we got most of the votes from workers, period. But the American auto worker was very much behind what we were doing as one primary aspect. It will transform North America back into a manufacturing powerhouse. If you remember, the previous administration said, we're not going to have manufacturing jobs anymore, essentially. We're not going to make things anymore? No, just the opposite. Going to be a manufacturing powerhouse and allow us to reclaim a supply chain that has been offshored to the world because of unfair trade issues. We also provide brand new intellectual property protections for biologic drugs, which will make North America a haven for medical innovation and development. We want our drugs to be made here. When you talk prescription drugs, we don't like getting them from foreign countries. We don't know what's happening with those drugs, how they're being made. Too important. This landmark agreement will send cash and jobs pouring into the United States and into North America. Good for Canada, good for Mexico. Instead of jobs leaving for overseas, they will be returning back home, and we've already had it. We have many, many car companies. I was with Prime Minister Abe of Japan. He said, we have sent many car companies to the United States over the last year and a half. It's true, and big expansions. And very importantly, he said many more are coming because they have an incentive now to be here. People want to be back in the United States again. As I say, the United States is respected again, but it's also respected as to trade and industry. This is a truly extraordinary agreement for the United States, Canada, and Mexico. President Peña Nieto, it's so important that the president and I have developed this sort of a bond on trade. Peña Nieto, a man that has done a very good job for Mexico in terms of trade, and Prime Minister Trudeau, who I just spoke to both of them a little while ago, They love their countries. They want to do right for their countries, and that's what they've done. And we've really formed, if you look at this agreement, we formed a great partnership with Mexico and with Canada. And I plan to sign the agreement by the end of November. I then will submit it for approval to Congress, where in theory there should be no trouble, but anything you submit to Congress is trouble, no matter what. It's the single greatest agreement ever signed. They'll say, well, you know, Trump likes it, therefore we're not going to approve it, because that would be good for the Republicans, so therefore we can't approve it. But it will be sent to Congress pursuant to the Trade Promotion Authority Act. This agreement follows on the heels of our successful completion of a new and balanced trade deal with South Korea. Tremendous difference in that deal from what it was. It was a disaster, as I said. To improve the old deal that had killed so many jobs. It also follows on our announcement last week of a new trade negotiation with Japan. Japan would never negotiate with the United States. They said, we're not going to negotiate. They told the previous administration, we're not going to negotiate. I said, you don't have to negotiate, but we're going to put a very, very substantial tax on your car if you don't. By the way, without tariffs, we wouldn't be talking about a deal. Just for those babies out there that keep talking about tariffs. That includes Congress. Oh, please don't charge tariffs. Without tariffs, we wouldn't be standing here. I can tell you Bob and all of these folks would not be standing here right now. And we're totally prepared to do that if they don't negotiate. But Japan is wanting to negotiate. Actually, they called about 3 weeks ago, and he's a terrific man, just had a tremendous victory. And they said, we'd like to start negotiations immediately. India, which is the tariff king, they called us and they say, we want to start negotiations immediately. When Bob Lightheiser said, what happened? You would never do this. They said, no, we want to keep your president happy. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? It's true. They have to keep us happy because they understand that we're wise to what's been happening. India charges tariffs of 100%. And then if we want to put a tariff of 25% on, people will call from Congress. But that's not free trade. And I'd look back to people and say, where do these people come from? Where do they come from? So because of the power of tariffs and the power that we have with tariffs, we, in many cases, won't even have to use them. That's how powerful they are and how good they are. But in many cases, we're not going to have to use them. And in many cases, countries that are charging massive tariffs are eliminating those tariffs. As you know, we have $250 billion at 25% interest with China right now, and we could go $267 billion more. And China wants to talk very badly. And I said, frankly, it's too early to talk. Can't talk now because they're not ready, because they've been ripping us for so many years. It doesn't happen that quickly. And if politically people force it too quickly, you're not going to make the right deal for our workers and for our country. But China wants to talk, and we want to talk to them. And we want them to help us with North Korea. We want them to continue to help us with North Korea. That's very important. The European Union, it's been very tough on the United States. Last year and for many years, they've lost in the vicinity of $150 billion a year. They have massive trade barriers. And they didn't want to come. They didn't want to talk. Jean-Claude, great business person, head of the European Union. Jean-Claude, my friend. I'd say, Jean-Claude, we want to make a deal. He goes, no, 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 we are very happy. I said, you may be happy, but I'm not happy because we have one of the worst deals of any group. We have one of the worst deals with the European Union. And they just didn't want to come because they were happy with the deal. I said, but we're not happy with the deal. And finally, after going through a whole process, I said, look, we're just going to put a tax of 20% on all of the millions of Mercedes and BMWs, all of the cars, the millions and millions of cars that they sell here that they won't take over there. Farm product that they won't take over there because they have barriers. You can't sell. You're not allowed to. Our farmers aren't allowed to sell over there many of their products, much of their products, most of them. And so I announced that we're going to put a 20% tariff, could be 25, on their cars coming in. And they immediately called and said, we'd like to start negotiations. And we're having a successful negotiation. We'll see what happens. Who knows? I always say, who knows? But we'll see. I have a feeling we'll be successful. A pillar of national security is economic security and trade. National security is not where we lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Over the last 5 years, we've averaged $800 billion a year loss on trade. How dumb is that? $800 billion. This group doesn't know about those numbers. I don't even want them to hear those numbers. But the United States in its trade deals has lost, on average, almost $800 billion a year. That's dealing with China, dealing with European Union, with everybody. Japan, Mexico, Canada, everybody. And we're not going to allow that to happen. But we have to have a strong manufacturing base and manufacturing sector. We need a thriving economy. Those are all really essential ingredients to national security. We can't allow what's been happening over the last 25 years to happen. We're building our military like never before. It will be the strongest it ever was. And all of those jets that are made, and rockets and missiles and ships, they're all being made in the United States, jobs. Our economy is booming like never before. Jobless claims are at a 50-year low. The stock market is at an all-time high. Think of that. Over 50% since my election. 50%. People, the 401ks, and they have 401ks, and they were dying with them for years. Now they're so happy. I was telling the story I often tell of a policeman in New York came up. His wife was always very upset with him as an investor because he wasn't doing well with the 401ks. Now she thinks he's a genius because the numbers are so crazy. But we're up over 50% since the election. And you've heard me say this many times, but African American unemployment, Asian unemployment, Hispanic unemployment is at record lows in history, not, for the last 2 years. The history of our country, African American, Asian, Hispanic, young people without high school diplomas, all at historic, that's a very important sector, all at historic lows. The lowest in history. It's really something that's great. This is helping so much with people that get out of prison. We have a tremendous problem. People come out of prison, they can't get a job. Employers don't want to hire them. The economy is so good, they're hiring them, and they're turning out to be incredible workers. They're given a chance. They're really given a second, given a third chance in some cases. But I've had numerous employers come up and say, I'll tell you what, I've taken people that were in prison, and we've hired them. He wouldn't have done this in a normal economy or a bad economy, only in this kind of an economy. And now he's like the biggest fan. One man in particular has taken numerous people. He said most of them have been unbelievable. All you can ask is most. But most of them have been unbelievable. That's a great thing. That's a really great thing. It gives them a chance. So before we take questions, I want to extend our warmest condolences to the country of Indonesia. Friend of mine, we're going to be calling up the leader, who is a great leader indeed, but they got hit by a giant tsunami like people have not seen. This part of the world hasn't seen it so much, fortunately. They say that's the worst of all. You look at the tornadoes, the hurricanes, you look at all of the different natural disasters. A friend of mine who studies natural disasters, I don't know why he does that, but he does. He says that tsunami is the worst of all, and they got hit very hard, and probably thousands of people killed. We have already sent a lot of first responders and military and others to help, but it's a really bad, bad situation. And finally, before closing, I want to send our thoughts and prayers to the victims of the Las Vegas shooting. That was a horrible, horrible time in the life of our country. Took place exactly 1 year ago today. All of America is grieving for the lives lost and for the families they left behind. So to all of those families and to the people of Las Vegas, we love you. We are with you. We're working with you very hard. It was a terrible, terrible event. So thank you very much for that. I want to ask Bob Lightheiser, who is just a terrific individual as well as a man that knows a lot about this subject, to come up and say a word about the USMCA, the new agreement. And if you have any questions, we'll take some questions after that. Please, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I start, I would just like to give a vignette, because I think it says something about working for the president. So August 16th of last year, we started this process. And I'm at a hotel in Washington, and there's like, hundreds and hundreds of people waiting to have the introduction of myself and my two counterparts, one from Canada, one from the United States. And we're lined up, and I get a call that says the president wants to talk to you. So I go in the little anteroom, and I get on the cell phone. The president starts talking, and everybody's kind of waiting, and he's talking, and he's going through what he wants to get done in NAFTA and his problems with it, all of which he's quite familiar with. And then he finally says two things which I thought were telling. One, he said, "Bob, I will back you up like no other USTR has been backed up in history." And then the second thing, and he did that, by the way, and then the second thing he said was, he said, "Now go out there and have fun." And I thought, well, it's probably not going to be as much fun from my side as it will be from your side, but I'm proud to be on your team, and I really am proud to follow you through this and the other trade changes. As you have said, Mr. President, this agreement is historic in many ways. The USMCA will cover $1.2 trillion, easily making it the biggest agreement in history. We have done this in 14 months. And believe me, in trade negotiating terms, that's like warp speed. When we began these negotiations last year, the President's instructions to me were precise and straightforward. Protect American workers, fight for our farmers and ranchers, preserve America's competitive innovation edge, secure greater access for our businesses, and above all, bring back jobs to America. I think we have succeeded with this agreement. The USMCA will accelerate the manufacturing renaissance our country has enjoyed under President Trump. It will bring our trading relationship with Mexico and Canada into the 21st century, and it will protect America's competitive edge in digital and innovation across the economy. The new agreement will also serve as a template for our trade agreements under the Trump administration in the future. This paradigm-shifting model rests on three pillars. The first pillar is fairness. We have negotiated stronger rules of origin for automobiles, which will bring billions of dollars of manufacturing back to America. We have secured greater market access for our farmers and ranchers. We've agreed to unprecedented labor standards that will help level the playing field for our workers. We've also agreed to a first-of-its-kind review and termination provision, which will ensure that the USMCA, unlike NAFTA, will not become unbalanced and out of date. The second pillar will consist of a host of ambitious provisions on digital trade, intellectual property, services, including financial services, designed to protect our competitive edge. The third pillar consists of new provisions designed to eliminate unfair trade practices, including strong new disciplines on state-owned enterprises, on currency manipulation, relations with non-market economies, and much, much more. We wouldn't be here today if it were not for several people who contributed so much to this endeavor. First, the President's key advisor and my good friend, Jared Kushner, was my partner in leading the U.S. negotiating team. I've said before, and I'll say again, this agreement would not have happened if it wasn't for Jared. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank my counterparts, Secretary Guajardo and Minister Freeland, as well as other Mexican and Canadian government officials, including Secretary Vidagrey, Ambassador Seade, Jerry Butts, and Katie Telford of Canada, and so many more. I'd also like to thank the wonderful staff at USTR, many of whom are on here. I like to think of us a little bit like we were the Marine Corps, and so I like the name particularly of this agreement. USTR is about 250 people, and they're all devoted, and they're all exceptional, and they all work round the clock. Many of the people you're looking at spent more than one night in the office over the course of the last few weeks. And they have enormous ability, and this president has unleashed them. Finally, I would like to thank President Trump. Your leadership, vision, and grit made this agreement possible. No other person could have done it. Millions of Americans will benefit for years to come because of this vision and probably even more important, this grit. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much. Some questions? Yes, Steve? Question?
Thank you, sir. You've had tensions with Prime Minister Trudeau.
Yes.
How did that affect your ability to get this deal done?
I don't think it did. He's a professional. I'm a professional. We had very strong tensions. It was just an unfair deal, whether it was Mexico or Canada, and now it's a fair deal for everybody. It's a much different deal. It's a brand new deal. It's not NAFTA redone. It's a brand new deal. I just spoke with him. We have a great relationship, and we're going to work as a partner. Don't forget, the rest of the world is looking to take advantage of us, and as a region, you might say. And we're going to work very closely together with Canada and with Mexico because we'll be able to compete with anybody. We have things that nobody else has. We have energy that nobody else has. We have timber that nobody else has. We have things that no other part of the world has to the extent that we have. So we're going to do very well together. I think there was a lot of tension, I will say, between he and I think more specifically, and it's all worked out. You know when it ended? About 12 o'clock last night.
And you mentioned
But he's a good man. He's done a good job, and he loves the people of Canada.
You mentioned the $267 billion and possible more tariffs on China. What does China need to do to avoid that?
Well, we'll see what happens with China. We have lost $375 billion in trade deficits. They have a surplus of $375 billion with a B with the United States. And it's been that way for years and years and years. I always say we rebuilt China. They took that money and they built fighter jets and they built bridges. They built more bridges than we've built in the last 100 years, probably. Big ones, like the George Washington Bridge, like big bridges. And I'm not going to take, look, I don't blame China. I blame our leadership. They should have never let that happen. And I told that to President Xi. I said, I was making a speech in China, and I was really hitting China hard. And I'm in China. I don't know if that's a good thing to do. But I looked at it and I said, but I don't really blame you. I blame our leadership for allowing this to happen. He knew exactly what I meant. We had no deal with China. I asked one of the top people in China, a representative at the highest level, came to the Oval Office. I said, let me ask you, how did this ever happen? He's a pro, so he understands. He doesn't have to be cute. He said, nobody ever did anything from the United States. When we put on a 25% tariff on every car that comes from the United States into China, we thought we would be rebuked. We thought it would be terrible. Nobody ever called. Nobody did anything. That was years ago. And we charged them nothing, 2.5%, but we don't collect it. We do now, by the way, but we don't collect the 2.5%. So they charge 25%, we charge essentially nothing. But I said, how did it happen? He said, nobody ever called. We don't have a deal with China. There's no deal. They do whatever they want. So we have a tremendous problem with theft of intellectual property with China. We have a lot of other problems with China. We have primarily trade problems. And as you know, they're having a much more difficult time now. I don't want them to have a difficult time. And we're doing better than we've ever done. Everybody talked about the tariffs, oh, the tariffs, tariffs. You know, tariffs ended in 1913, and they then went to a different system in 1918, totally unrelated. And then in 1928, you had the Great Depression for a lot of different reasons, not necessarily our country's fault, but a little bit our country's fault. And then in the 1930s, they said, we better start charging some tariffs. We need money to come into our country again, okay? So I'm not advocating tariffs. I will tell you this, our steel industry, Wilbur, is stronger than it's been in 25 years. This has taken 6 months because I charged for the dumpers. They were dumping steel and dumping aluminum into our country. I charged 25%. That's a lot. Could be more, but that's a lot. And if you look at U.S. Steel and Nucor just announced $1 billion plant, brand new, already started construction. U.S. Steel's building 8 or 9 plants. They're expanding plants. I don't think there's any industry like what's happened to steel in the last 9 months, 10 months since I really started doing what I'm doing. It's been really pretty amazing. Aluminum also. So, and we need steel. We need steel for defense. What are we going to do? Go and say, oh, we'll get our steel from like another country? We can't do that. Excuse me. We can't do that. So we need steel, and we need it badly for defense. So I'm very proud of what's happened with the steel industry. Okay, question? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
She's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
In a tweet this weekend, Mr. President, you said that it's incorrect to say you're limiting the scope of the FBI investigation.
What does that have to do with trade? I don't mind answering the question, but, you know, I'd like to do the trade
It has to
questions
do with the other
first.
headline in the news, which is the Kavanaugh
I know,
nomination.
but how about talking about trade, and then we'll get to that. We'll do that a little bit later.
Do you think the trade,
Anybody have a trade?
Do you
Go
think
ahead,
your trade
please.
deal will pass through Congress, sir?
I think so, but, you know, if it doesn't, we have lots of other alternatives. But I do think so. I think if they're fair, which is a big question, but if it's fair on both sides, the Republicans love it. Industry loves it. Our country loves it. If it's fair, it will pass. I think it'll pass easily, really easily, because it's a great deal. I mean, NAFTA passed. It's one of the worst deals I've ever seen. Inconceivable that it was made. Fair question. Any other questions on
Thank
trade?
you.
I'll get back to you on the other question.
I'd like to go forward with my Kavanaugh question.
Let's
if I
do
might,
that
with
later,
a minute.
and but I'll call you a
quick-
second time. Go ahead, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have described India right now as a tariff king. Can you explain it a bit later?
Well, India charges us tremendous tariffs. When we send Harley Davidsons, motorcycles, other things to India, they charge very, very high tariffs. And I've spoken to Prime Minister Modi, and he's going to reduce them very substantially. Nobody ever spoke to these people. He said, nobody ever spoke to me. In other words, we've had leaders here. I'm not, you know, trying to be overly dramatic. We've had presidents of the United States and trade representatives. They never spoke to India. Brazil's another one. That's a beauty. They charge us whatever they want.
So
If
what
you
kind-
ask some of the companies, they say Brazil is among the toughest in the world, maybe the toughest in the world. We don't call them and say, hey, you're treating our companies unfairly. You're treating our country unfairly. So India is a very, very high, they really charge tremendously high tariffs. On motorcycles, it was 100%. So you send a motorcycle into India, there's a 100% tariff. Now that's so high that it's like a barrier. In other words, who's going to buy it? Costs you so much. Now they've already reduced that substantially, but it's still too high. My relationship with India is great, with Prime Minister Modi is great, and they're going to start doing a lot. They've called us to make a deal. We didn't even call them. They called us to make a deal, which is like shocking to people. Yes, sir, go ahead. Yes.
Well, there we go. I do have a second question on the Kavanaugh thing, when you get back to it, if you take that.
Let's go.
But you'll take that now?
No.
Okay. Well, the question I
First
have
do trade.
on trade, does this mean the end of tariffs, if you could spell that out
No.
to Canada?
No.
So do you think it'll pass?
No. The steel is staying where it is, and aluminum. But it means we probably, for the most part, won't be having to use tariffs unless we're unable to make a deal with a country. For instance, if we can't make a deal with the European Union we will respectfully put tariffs on the cars. The United States will take in billions and billions of dollars into its coffers. Isn't that nice? Because you don't hear that.
Only from Carl Sagan.
Okay, yes, Sagan. But it'll take in billions and billions of dollars. But really what's going to happen is they'll make the cars in the United States. This way they don't have to pay the 25 or the 20% tax.
And could you spell
So
out?
I don't think you're going to have to use the tariffs too often, but there will be cases where you have countries that are just absolutely not willing to do what's fair and reciprocal, and in that case, they'll pay tariffs. And you know what? The United States will do very well. Either way, we do very well.
So do you think it'll pass in Canada, Mexico, and more importantly,
I don't know.
here in the United States?
I can't tell you. All I know is we made a deal. The highly respected presidents, and in the case of Canada, the Prime Minister, are satisfied with the deal. It's good for Canada, good for Mexico. It's good for all three. This is a deal. I'm not touting it. This is good for all three. That's good. And just that fact makes it good for us. But this is good for all three. But this is a much different deal than NAFTA. And this is much more of a reciprocal deal for the United States, which is really good. Yeah, go ahead, Peter. No, why don't you just, we'll do the Kavanaugh questions. I mean, you talk about being treated harshly. We'll do that in a couple of, let's finish up trade because you have a lot of people that want to run over to the Wall Street Journal and start writing. Go ahead, please.
Can you take one from the Mexican journalist?
I can't hear you.
Can you take one from the Mexican journalist?
A Mexican journalist? Go ahead.
Yes.
Sure.
So you're going to keep the tariffs on steel and aluminum on Mexico and Canada?
Until such time as we can do something that would be different, like quotas, perhaps, so that our industry is protected. We are not going to allow our steel industry to disappear. It was almost gone. I'll tell you what, if our country kept going the way it was going, within 2 years you wouldn't have had a steel industry. We have to have a steel industry. We have to have an aluminum. You know, there are certain industries important. So we are working on that now. That wasn't part of this. But we will do something. And in fact, Bob, if you want, you may want to say a couple of words about that because we were literally talking about that 1 hour ago.
Yes, great. Thank you, Mr. President. I guess I would say, first of all, there are two separate things as far as we're concerned. We know that there are grave interests to both countries. We are engaging in talks now with an effort to try to preserve the effect of our program and still take care of their needs. And hopefully we'll be able to work that out. But we are in communication with them.
And really take care of the needs of our steel companies. I don't want plants closing. They're hiring thousands of workers all over the country. I'm not giving that up.
All right, folks, so we have footage from inside. Oh my God, hold on. All right, sorry about that. So we have footage from inside the venue where President Trump is going to have his rally right now in Iowa. But we are getting some stuff ready with the camera guys, so make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. We're going to be bringing you the footage in just a few minutes as soon as the camera guy fixes the issues that he's having, and then we have a perfect stream for you folks, so we won't go back on and off. Like sometimes that it happens, but any live footage, like any live stream, there's always issues. This is not pre-recorded. This is not done in beforehand and anything like that. This is all live raw footage, raw as it can possibly get, folks, here live at Golden State Times. So make sure you guys stay tuned, and the footage should be coming up on your screen momentarily. But until then, we're going to continue with this press conference that the president had regarding trade. So thank you so much. Please share the live stream on social media. I'm going to be giving shout outs on microphone. Whoever shares the live stream on Twitter or on gab.ai, I will be giving you guys a quick shout out. Also, we're talking with the legal team to see how we can do a giveaway that will be legal and abiding by the rules of YouTube regarding giving away Trump hats. So stay tuned for that. We're still, talking to YouTube and seeing what their rules are and what we can and can't do. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to be giving away tons of Trump hats in the near future. So stay tuned, folks. Also, don't forget to give the thumbs up button right below the video. That helps out the channel a lot too. Thank you.
understanding, yeah. Really good. Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
I am, Mr. President, just hoping you can just reiterate on the tariffs. What specifically would it take for Canada or Mexico to be exempt from these tariffs? And secondly, did you consider dairy the deal breaker when it came to Canada?
Dairy was a deal breaker. And now for our farmers, it's, as you know, substantially opened up, much more. And I know they can't open it completely. They have farmers also. You know, they can't be overrun. And I fully and I tell them that. I say, look, I understand you have limits, but they could do much better. And we've opened it up to our farmers. So the folks up in Wisconsin, I'll tell you what, I went to Wisconsin, I went to Iowa. Joni knows better than anybody, right? And Scott Walker, who I think is a fantastic governor, talks about it all the time, that our farmers were not treated properly by Canada. Now they're going to be treated with respect. They're going to be treated fairly. Or, as I say, in that reciprocal way. Very important. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. President. It seems there was some give and take on both sides for this deal. I wonder what, in your view, would be your biggest concession to Canada and why you decided to make that concession. Number two, if you could dive in a bit more to your thoughts on Justin Trudeau. You talk about tensions. I wonder what you, throughout this process, what you've learned about him and what the state of the relationship is with him today and going forward.
Well, I think my biggest concession would be making the deal. Because we are the one that people come and want to take from. I'm talking about every country. And that gives us a tremendous advantage in negotiating that we never used before with past administration. We never used it. Every deal we have is a loser. Every deal, you could look at almost every country in the world, almost every country. We have trade deficits. We lose with everybody. So I think my biggest concession was making the deal, because we could have done it a different way, but it would have been nasty and it wouldn't have been nice, and I don't want to have that. We have a great relationship with Canada. I think now it'll be better than ever. The only problem with Justin is he loves his people, and he's, fighting hard for his people. I think we've always had actually a very good relationship. It got a little bit testy in the last couple of months, but that was over this agreement, and I understand that. But no, I think Justin's a good person who's doing a good job. He felt very committed to his people, and that's what he did. And again, this is good for everybody. This is good for Canada, good for Mexico also. Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you mentioned, you're going to be signing this agreement, and your counterparts are going to be signing this agreement within the next 60 days. Right. Then it's up to Congress. Right. You're very confident. I get that. You're a confident guy.
Not at all confident. I'm not.
Well,
I don't know.
explain to me
Congress,
why you think that if Congress
you guys
is
going to sign
by,
it, tell me. I think they will.
If Congress is controlled by Democrats.
Could happen. Could be.
It could happen.
So they're willing to throw.
What are the prospects?
Yeah, they might be willing to throw one of the great deals for people. And the workers, they may be willing to do that for political, people or political purposes, because frankly, they'll have 2020 in mind. So far, I dream about 2020 when I look at what's going. They have 2020 in mind. They want to do as well as they can, and so trying to reject even great deals, like this is a great deal for
all
our
right,
country,
folks. So
other countries.
The president is arriving in Iowa right now, and we're gonna take you there just a second as I get this ready to go. Again, the president has just arrived in Iowa. He is landing right now.
Just around this.
And I'm going to show you guys real quick. So there he is. There's the president right now.
song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the canes on its front. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
All right, folks. So what you guys are watching is live footage from the airport in Council Bluffs, Iowa, where President Trump has just landed for his rally later on in a little bit right now. I just want to give a quick shout out to Shannon. We also want to give a shout out to New York for Trump, Norman, Inri the Gods, Patriot United, Kent, Blanche, Timothy, Paula, JT, Jim, Red Wave Rider, Takay's, and Broward Living. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. If you guys share the live stream on Twitter or gab.ai, I'll be giving you guys a quick shout out for helping us get more patriots into the channel and for making us #1. So we would like to thank you so much to everyone that is sharing the live stream. You can also share it on Reddit. You can also share it on Facebook. You can share it any platform you guys choose. That helps out the channel immensely. And we would like to thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts here at Golden State Times, because we need as much support and as much help as we can possibly get, folks. So if you guys share the live streams, if you guys smack the thumbs up button, if you guys click the thumbs up button below the video, all of those things help out the channel, and it makes the channel bigger and it makes the channel better, and we get more resources. That way we can bring you guys a better stream and stuff like that. So stay tuned. Again, the president has just landed. He's about to exit the Air Force One onto his motorcade, and then he will be attending the rally in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which you guys will see in just a few moments. Thank you. All right, folks, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second as they bring back that footage real quick.
But it's a great deal for our country and great for our workers. I can't tell you whether or not they will obstruct, whether or not they will resist. I mean, their whole campaign is resist. I see their signs all resist. They don't even know what they're resisting. If you ask them, what are you resisting? Well, let me think about that. They can't ask. They had somebody on this weekend. They said, what are you resisting? And they were unable to answer the question. So, you know, I can't tell you about delay, obstruct, resist, because, you know, right after this election, and I think we're going to do well, although history is not on our side. I guess in history, generally whoever has the White House doesn't do well in midterms. But the one difference is we have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think that's a big difference. And that's one of our problems, too, because people that went out and voted for me, and they would be voting for me if I was on the ticket, but I'm not on the ticket. But Congress is on the ticket. And I try and tell my people that's the same thing as me. In a sense, that's the same thing. Think of it as the same thing as me. But I think we're going to do well. I actually think. I mean, we have Senate races that weren't even in play 6 months ago. When I started looking at it closely, I won't mention names, but there were senators that were not in play. They were not even, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, numerous of them. They were not in play. In other words, let's not go here, let's not go to this state, 4 or 5 states. Now they're like even races. In one case, they're up 2 points. Now, who knows what that means? And, you know, as you know, there are a lot of them are repression polls or polls that aren't very accurate, because I see polls that I know are false having to do with certain of the races. But we had areas and we had congressional seats, too, where I know it's going to be a positive outcome. But you look at what's going on, and it doesn't seem to be broadcast that way. But I certainly had that with my election. They were telling me I was, you know, in trouble in certain states, that I end up winning in a a landslide. And I knew I was going to win them in a landslide, but they wouldn't report it that way. You know why? Fake news. Okay. Right
One last
behind
thing,
you.
Mr.
Yes,
President.
right behind you,
Do you
please.
believe that the trade agreement will be a major issue in the midterm elections?
Well, it shouldn't be. Look, it's a good agreement. These people, you know, when I first did it, they said, oh, why don't you just extend NAFTA? They have no idea about business. Just extend NAFTA. That would have been a disaster. We're losing $100 billion a year in deficits, at least to Mexico, under NAFTA. But just look at the results, and a substantial amount to Canada, although a lot of people try and say it's pretty much even. It's not even. We lose a substantial amount. So, you know, I think it's a very hard thing to defend, but that's all right. Look, I understand the world of politics, I think, as well as anybody. I haven't been doing it that long, but I actually have been, because I've been doing it on the other side. And I do understand, and, you know, they can take the greatest thing ever done and try and make it sound as bad as possible. But this one's tough. This one, people are coming out for this one and saying, that's incredible what we've been able to do. Yes, behind you, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now that you've answered several questions on trade, I'd like to turn
Don't
to Judge
do that.
Kavanaugh.
Do you have?
President,
excuse me. Do you have a question on trade? We'll
you
do one or two more questions
you
on
answered
trade.
several questions
Okay,
on
don't
trade.
do that. That's not nice.
Mr. President,
and besides
you said
that, somebody is before you. Excuse me. Don't do that. Do you have a question on trade?
You answered several
Do
questions
you have
on trade.
a question on trade?
My question is on Judge
Okay,
Kavanaugh.
please, yes,
You said
please.
the FBI should interview whoever that they believe is appropriate. Does that include Julie Swetnick, the third accuser? And can you promise to release the full findings
give me
from
your
the
question,
FBI
please.
after they finish their report, Mr. President?
Give me your question, please. Give her the mic, please.
Thank you very much. Was border security or funding
Yes.
for the wall discussed during the negotiation, and who will pay for the wall?
Yes, the wall. We're getting 1.6 billion for the wall this year. We got 1.6. We have about 3.2 billion in the wall. We're doing a lot of work. People don't realize. I don't really want to talk about it because I can build it quickly at one time, which is what I want. But we've been building it over the last year and a half with 3.2 billion, 1.6, and we now have another 1.6. And I've got a big decision to make after the election as to whether or not we go for it. Because you know what? Border security to the people of our country, very important. The wall is a big factor in border security. And I really believe that the people of our country, they want the wall and they want border security. They don't want open borders like the Democrats want to have. They don't want crime pouring into our country. They don't want MS-13 pouring into our country. They don't want that. And I really think I have a very big decision to make sometime right after the election, very quickly, because you know what comes due after the election. Do I want to do it before the election? Personally, yes. But I don't want to do that for a different reason, because I have some very fine people that are running in close races, and it may affect them and it may not. It may be good for them. I happen to think it would be good for them. But border security for our country, our people want security. The women of our country, they want security. They don't want to have thousands of people pouring across the border. And I'll tell you what, they want to have ICE, because ICE walks into MS-13 and these gangs, and they treat them like it's just another day in the office. They're rough and they're tough and they love our country. And I'm treating ICE good and I'm treating our law enforcement good. And the Democrats don't want to take care of our law enforcement. And the Democrats don't want to take care of our military. So we are going to have a decision to make sometime right after, very close to after the election is over. And that will be on border security and the wall, but border security. The wall's a big factor. Okay, do you want to do some questions?
But was that part of the conversation and the negotiation that just took
Yes, it
place?
was. Yeah, we talked about it. With Mexico, we talked about it. It was a big part, and certain things and certain understandings are had. At the same time, we don't want to mix it up too much. This is a very big deal and a very good deal for everybody. But border security and security generally is a very big factor. We also have drugs. Sometimes, and some people would say it's a very similar thing. But we talked about drugs with Mexico. That's a very, very big factor. Very, very big. We have a lot of good understandings, and we'll be discussing that with them.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, but it was a factor, absolutely, in the deal. Okay, let's go. Come on. You want to, I guess, get off trade. I don't know. People are falling asleep with trade. I think it's, to me, it's the most exciting thing you can talk about, right, Joni? Right? All right, let's go. Come on.
Thank you, Mr. President. In a tweet this weekend, you said it's incorrect to say that you're limiting the scope of the FBI investigation into Judge Kavanaugh. But your own statement on Friday made it very clear. You said this investigation must be limited in scope. So which is it?
Well, no, I didn't say anything on Friday. What I said is, let the Senate decide whatever they want to do is okay with me. And also the FBI. I think the FBI should do what they have to do to get to the answer. At the same time, just so we all understand, this is our 7th investigation of a man who has really, you know, you look at his life until this happened, what a change he's gone through, what his family's gone through, the trauma for a man that's never had any accusation, he's never had a bad statement about him. He's led.
All right, folks, so here we go. We have footage from inside the venue. Give me a second. We have footage from inside the venue, so we're going to take you guys there. Just give me a second as I put it up on your screen. Hopefully there's no issues. As of right now, everything looks good. We just have to make sure that we don't put copyrighted music. Okay, so let's see here. Let me test it. Let me test it real quick. Here we go. All right, so We have footage from inside the venue. And please share the live stream on social media. It should start soon. Thank you very much to all of those that shared it. I actually have a list here, and we have Lady of the Hawks, Gadia, I hope I said that right. David, Pray for Trump, and Dician Academy. I hope I said that right too. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys in the chat. I'm going to go look for more names of patriots that have been sharing the stream on either Twitter or Gab. So right now we're just giving a shout out to people that share it on Twitter or Gab. But you can also share it on Facebook, on Reddit, on 4chan and 8chan, wherever you can put it. It's greatly appreciated by us. Also, smacking the like button, clicking that thumbs up button below the video. That helps out the channel too. It lets YouTube know that you guys enjoy the content and that you guys want to see the Trump rally here live at Golden State Times. Thank you. All right, stand by, folks, while this person gets out of the way. All right, so I'd like to give a quick shout out to Judy, high IQ person. Here we go, she got out of the way. All right, so high IQ person. We have Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. If you guys share the live stream on Facebook, on Twitter, and on gab.ai, I'll give you guys a quick shout out on microphone. Thank you. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Rainbow. Thank you for sharing the live stream on Twitter, on social media. Thank you. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Jack, Jeff, and Ben. Thank you so much, Jack, Jeff, and Ben, for sharing the live stream on social media. All right, folks, so I'd like to give a quick shout out to Warner and to also Deplorable Kitty and Hand of Valley. Thank you so much for your support and sharing the live stream on social media. I'll also like to give a quick shout out to Rainbow Promise and to Judy and High IQ Person. Thank you so much. All right, folks, stand by as we get this you know what out of the way. Stand by, folks, stand by. People are getting in the way. But as we wait for this idiot to get out of the way, we want to give a quick shout out to Shonda, also to Brenda, and to Monita Crusha. I hope I said that right. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media.
what he's gone through over the last 3 weeks is incredible. So I want the FBI, this is now their 7th investigation, so it's not like they're, just starting. I want them to do a very comprehensive investigation, whatever that means according to the senators and the Republicans and the Republican majority. I want them to do that. I want it to be comprehensive. I actually think it's a good thing for Judge Kavanaugh. I think it's actually a good thing, not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Now, with that being said, I'd like it to go quickly. And the reason I'd like it to go quickly, very simple. It's so simple. Because it's unfair to him at this point. What his wife is going through, what his beautiful children are going through is not describable. It's not describable. It's not fair. I think it's fair to do it to me because, I've been going from day one. I've been from long before I got to office. You've been doing it. It's almost became, I think for me, it's like a part of my job description to handle this crap. But as far as this is a man that this is not from his world. And you know what? If they're not going to want him, and I think that would be a shame, I'm with him all the way. I mean, a charge made or said to have occurred 36 years ago, and nothing happened since. And look, I feel badly for all parties. I feel badly for everybody. I feel badly for our country. This is so bad for our country. But I will tell you, I watched those senators on the Democrat side, and I thought it was a disgrace, and partially because I know them. I know them too well, and you know what? They are not angels.
Are you saying your White House has put no limitations on?
No, my White House is doing
FBI
whatever
can
the
speak
senators
to
want. No.
Who they should interview?
You don't understand what I'm saying. You do understand, you just don't want to report it that way. Just so you understand, my White House will do whatever the senators want. I'm open to whatever they want. The one thing I want is speed.
All right,
Now,
so finally he got out of the way. Sorry about that, folks, but we're going to go back to the footage of the rally real quick, as you guys can see. Here we go. All right, folks. So I'm going to continue giving shout outs to people to patriots that are sharing our live stream on social media. I apologize for taking it off for a second, but that idiot won't get out of the way. And if by idiot, I mean the guy from CNN. I want to give a quick thank you to Blade Runner. Thank you so much for your support on Super Chat. We need as much help as we can possibly get, not only by sharing, but also Super Chat, all that stuff, folks. I cannot express how much help we need, but thank you so much for your support, Blade Runner. For everyone that is wondering what the big announcement is going to be, it's definitely going to be about ethanol. There's going to be a huge announcement about ethanol. He wants, the president wants that to be a key thing going forward from now. Infrastructure is going to be also a big part of what's going to be coming in the future. Now, after we have confirmed Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, the president can now focus on infrastructure, which will include ethanol, and which will include power and stuff like that. So stay tuned.
march along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave.
I want to give a quick thank you to the Zachary. I wanted to get it right. The Zachary Mantis. Thank you so much, Zachary, for your support on Super Chat. All right, folks, so if you guys share the live stream on Twitter or on gab.ai, I'm going to give you guys a quick shout out for helping the channel. Sharing this live stream on social media helps out the channel like you cannot believe, folks. So if you guys would like to please share the live stream on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Gab, 4chan, 8chan, Reddit, wherever you can put it, you can send it through text message, email, call up a friend and tell them, hey, you know what, look this up, and then you can watch President Trump's speech. However you can help us, it'll be greatly appreciated. You know that. All right, so I'd like to give a shout out to Peggy, Zach, Sean, Crash, Prite, I believe, and Garnet. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. All right, folks, so I'd like to give some more shout outs. We have Jill, Christopher, Lee, Perry. We have Summer. We have Jennifer. We have Jay. We have Texas. We have Shayla. We have Me the People. And we have Donna. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing the live stream on social media. You guys are amazing. If you just joined us right now, if you guys share the live stream on Twitter or on gab.ai, because I know some patriots don't like Twitter and they rather use Gab, and that's fine. If you guys share the live stream on those two social medias, you guys will get a shout out on microphone from us live here at Golden State Times. We have a bunch of patriots that shared the live stream. Up to right now, we're almost at 50 patriots that shared the live stream on social media. That's amazing. Thank you. I don't know if I mentioned Peggy on the last shout out, but thank you so much, Peggy, for sharing the live stream. All right, so we have a few more patrons that have been sharing the live stream. We got Jeff, Garden Gnome, Dennis, we have Jeffy, we have Happy Campers, Made in the USA, and Jill. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. All right, so I'd like to give some shout outs to Debernil, Adrian, Eric, Jean, Donna, Drain the Swamp, and Mask of Eternity. Thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. I'll also like to thank John, D, and Sunflower. Thank you for sharing the live stream on social media. I'll also like to thank Avi, Donald Guy, Susan, Martha, and Make America Great Again Patriot. Thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. I would like to give a quick thank you to Blade Runner. Thank you so much for your support on Super Chat. Folks, Super Chat is what gets us to the next Trump rally. So if you like to contribute to Golden State Times, Super Chat is a very good way of doing it. And we're not going to be like other people that say, oh yeah, YouTube takes a cut. You know, whatever you feel within yourself that you would like to help out Golden State Times, it's greatly appreciated here with no problems. And it's not necessary. If you can't contribute through Super Chat, that's fine. Sharing the live stream on social media is also a perfect way of helping us. And we even give you guys a shout out on microphone if you guys help us on Super Chat or by sharing the live stream. So thank you in advance. All right, so we would like to give a shout out to Gloria, Daryl, Gallon, Laura, Jim, Susan, Deplorable, Susanna, Ellie, and Michael. Thank you so much for your support on Super Chat. I mean, sorry. So, thank you for your sharing on social media. It's been a long day, folks, but we're here. And look at that crowd. As you guys can see, it's huge. Council Bluffs, Iowa, just like every other Trump rally. This week, there's going to be 3 Trump rallies. This one is the 4th one, but this one, there's one tomorrow, there's one on Friday, and there's one on Saturday. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And then next week, actually next weekend, not this weekend that's coming up, but the following weekend, it's going to be Politicon, folks. Politicon is coming up. We have press passes for that. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Make sure you guys are subscribed and the thumbs up button and the notification bell is on. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Politicon coming up in just over a week, folks. All right, folks, so we have a couple more shout-outs. We got Deb, Gadia, Heated, Kelly, Denise, I Stand With Flynn, Josh, Crispy, Mamadou, and Gloria. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. You're amazing. If you just joined us right now and you guys share the live stream either on Twitter or gab.ai, I'll be giving you guys a quick shout out before the president comes out and delivers his speech on microphone. Thank you. All right, folks, 10-minute warning, folks. 10-minute warning. President Trump is set to come out in just a few minutes. So if you just joined us right now, please make sure to share this live stream on social media. Also, smack that like button, that thumbs up button below the video. That shows support for the channel and it lets YouTube know that you guys are enjoying this live stream. You guys want to see more. You guys like Golden State Times. If you're new, also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell because we have a whole bunch of live streams coming up. We have 3 Trump rallies this week, and next weekend we have Politicon going on both Saturday and Sunday. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times.
Hello, Iowa. It is great to be back in beautiful Council Bluffs with thousands of hardworking, great American patriots. Thank you. This is truly a historic week for America. And you know what I'm talking about, because yesterday at the White House, we proudly swore in the newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And today, Justice Kavanaugh took his seat alongside of Justice Gorsuch to defend your rights, your Constitution, and your God-given freedom. And I want to thank our incredible Republican senators for refusing to back down in the face of the Democrats' shameful campaign of political and personal destruction. I especially want to thank an Iowa legend whose backbone and leadership made this great victory possible. Chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, a very tough cookie, Chuck Grassley. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Great man, great person. From the very first minute Brett Kavanaugh was nominated, radical Democrats were on a mission to resist, obstruct, delay, demolish, and destroy. They wanted to destroy that man. Of course, they wanted to destroy me too, but that's okay. Me, we understand. Him, how can you do that? They want to destroy everything. That's all they're good at. Resisting. Their whole campaign is resist. Ours is to create. What the Democrats did to Brett and his beautiful family is a national embarrassment, a national disgrace. You see what's happening, and you see where they're coming from. You see, including the phony protesters that got paid. And now they want to protest because they didn't get paid yet, and they want their money. So now they're going to really protest. You see, that's a real protest. But in just 4 weeks, you will have the chance to render your verdict on the Democrats' outrageous conduct on November 6th. And you can do early voting in Iowa. Go, just vote. Get it over with. Vote. Go vote. Early voting started today, right? Today. Early vote. Go do it immediately. Then you don't have to listen to me anymore tonight. In fact, if you did early voting already, go home. Have a good time. Thank you. We'll let some additional people from outside in, right? No, that's not going to happen. Got a lot of people outside. Well, look at this place. You believe it? It never changes. Could I ask the cameras to just take a swoop of this around, please? You mind? Come on. They don't like to do that. They don't like to. They like to keep that camera dead set on me and about 6 people in the background. All wearing hats saying, "Make farmers great again." And we're doing it, we're a little bit early, I shouldn't say it now, but we're going with E15 year-round, okay? I made that promise to you during the campaign. I made that promise to you during the primaries, remember? I made that promise. Promises made, promises kept. Right? On November 6th, you have the chance to stop the radical Democrats by electing a Republican House and a Republican Senate. So we need the votes. We have a majority that if one person has a cold, we have to hold the vote. I mean, we don't have, it's like we hardly have a majority. We need votes. Early voting is now underway, and you know that. You got to get out early voting. Go out now and vote. Leave here now immediately. Is it still open? Yes, get the hell out of here. Early voting. And in their lust for power, the Democrats have become totally unhinged. They've gone crazy. No, they've gone crazy. Now the Democrats, or as some people would say, the Dims, the Dims. Who says that? Lou Dobbs, the great Lou Dobbs, he says that, right? Sean Hannity says that. The Dims. Sean Hannity. Judge Janine says that, doesn't she? Laura, how good has Laura been, right? We got a lot of good people. Do we like Tucker? I like Tucker. He says that. Got a lot. How about Steve Ducey? How about Ainsley? Brian? We got a lot of great friends. The Democrats are even talking about doing really bad things now to Justice Kavanaugh. You know what they're talking about. And packing the courts with radical judges to overrule the will of the American people. It's not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. Last week, they're saying we'll impeach him. Impeach him for what? For what? Besides that, I have to go first, right? Don't I have to go? Even though we've done nothing wrong, other than create one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. That'll be interesting. You get impeached for having created the greatest economy in the history of our country, the best job numbers in the history of our country, just about, right? The greatest trade deals, which we've just finished in the history of our country. The biggest regulatory cuts by far already in less than 2 years, bigger than any other president during their entire term or terms. The biggest tax cuts and reforms. You got a lot of money back in the history of our country. But the Democrats have become too extreme, and they've become, frankly, too dangerous to govern. They've gone wacko. They've gone so far left that they consider Pocahontas to be a rational person. Oh, it's crazy. Elizabeth Warren. Oh, I hope she runs. I hope she runs. Then we can finally get down to the fact as to whether or not she has Indian blood. But so far, she's not doing too well. Her mother says she has high cheekbones, that's why. And she's gotten a lot of advantages by falsely claiming what she's claimed. So I hope she's one of the finalists. But I don't want to knock too many of them, because maybe by doing, I'll knock them all out early. And I'll actually end up somebody that's it's got some talent. That wouldn't be good. So we have to be nice and quiet. I should be really quiet, really, really quiet on the bad ones. No, on the bad ones. Like we won't talk about Cory Booker, who ran Newark into the ground. We won't talk about Da Nang Dick, who tried to convince people for 15 years that he was a great war hero. They were going down left. They were going down right. Right? You know who that is? Blumenthal. He said they were going down on my left, they were going down. He was in Da Nang province, except the one problem. It's hard to be there because he was never in Vietnam, but these are minor details. And then he gets up, he goes, I demand total honesty and transparency. I'm saying, so what's this? He wants honesty. A great war hero. He's a great hero. Yeah, right. How about Senator Feinstein? That's another beauty. That's a beauty. Did you leak the documents? What? No, I didn't. Did we leak? Did we leak? No, we didn't. Did you ever see? No. She goes, no. He just said, no, we didn't leak. And I think they're talking about Feinstein. Can you believe it? Now, was that the worst body language? Honestly. In other words, did she leak it 100%? No. I don't want to get sued. 99%. See, now I can't get. Now I can't get sued. You don't hand matches to an arsonist, and you don't give power to an angry left-wing mob, and that's what the Democrats have become. They would turn our country so fast into Venezuela, and Venezuela's not doing too well, folks. If you want to drain the swamp, you must defeat the Democrats, or you're going to have one hell of a swamp. Under Republican leadership, America is booming, America is thriving, and America is winning again like never before because we are finally putting America first. The national unemployment rate has fallen to 3.7. You believe that one? 3.7%, the lowest in 50 years. 50. And it's going better. It's going better. Iowa's unemployment rate is 2.5%, among the lowest in its history that we can find. And by the way, we need people helping you. We need people coming in. We need people to run the farms. We're going to have people coming in, but they're going to come in legally, and they're going to come in through merit. Through merit. It's called the merit system. And we've built the wall. We're building the wall. We've started. A lot of it's getting done right now. We got 1.6 billion, another 1.6 billion, and another 1.6 billion. I want them to give us the money so I can build it. We can build it in a year. But we've done a lot of it. It's going up right now. But, you know, the Democrats feel that that's one thing we really want. We got our money for the military, $700 billion. We got our money to help us out with the opioid crisis, $6 billion. But when it comes to the wall, they feel we want it so badly, but we keep getting big chunks and we keep building that wall, and it's under construction, and we're going to get it finished sooner than anyone would believe. And if you could get me some Republicans, we'll get it done quickly. I mean, when I have to ask Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters, can we build a wall, Maxine? No, I don't want that wall built. She doesn't want a wall built. Can we build it? How about Pelosi? We want to build the wall. No, I don't want that wall built. Look, Iowa manufacturing jobs are growing at the fastest rate in more than 20 years. And if you remember, the last administration, without mentioning names, the last administration said manufacturing jobs, they're dead, they're gone. We have 600,000 have come back since the election. 600,000. More Americans are now working than ever before. Think of that. At this point, today, this day, we have more Americans by far working, right now working, than have ever worked in our country before. Isn't that right? That's a big number. That's a big number. Today I kept another major promise, as I said, to the people of Iowa and Nebraska and other countries. Hey, wait a minute. I got to do that again. I got to do that again. I love Nebraska. You know, we won Iowa. We won Nebraska. But they said, sir, you're speaking in Iowa, but we'll have some people from Nebraska there. What the heck? Like I said, Nebraska. Okay, so, and we have both, by the way, we have both great governors here. And I did that just in case. So ready? I'm going to go Iowa first, then I'm going to go Nebraska. I just want to see who the hell I'm speaking to. Okay? Because that was a little shocking what I just heard. So I'm going to go, I'm just curious, okay? Iowa. Nebraska. So they said, sir, you're speaking in Iowa. There may be a few people coming in from Nebraska. I don't think that's right. Great going, fellas. Great going. I'll tell my staff, great going, fellas. Doesn't matter. We love both. Who cares, right? Who cares? We love both. All I know is you've got a lot of farmers in both, right? And my administration is protecting ethanol, all right? That's what you want to hear. Today, we are unleashing the power of E15 to fuel our country all year long, not 8 months, all year long. The Dems will end ethanol. You know that. They're not going to approve ethanol. They will take it away. We'll try and make it like so they can't do it to it, but they will find a way to take it away if you give them the right. So you better get out there and vote for Republicans. We've also achieved another historic victory for Iowa farmers and ranchers by replacing the job-killing NAFTA with an incredible brand new US-Mexico-Canada agreement, the USMCA. But if Democrats take control, they will try to reverse our amazing progress and plunge our country into gridlock frankly, into poverty, ultimately into chaos. That's what's going to happen. And we've never had it like it's been now. We have never had it like it is now. Look at all the money you people are making. What are you going to do with it? Democrats want to raise your taxes, impose socialism, dismantle law enforcement, eliminate ICE, and get rid of American borders. You want to get rid of the borders, right? You won't have a country. And I've been saying this, and I mean it. Democrats are the party of crime. They are. Republicans are the party of safety. We are also the party of jobs, jobs, jobs. Now, we're thrilled to be joined tonight by a number of terrific Republican leaders. Iowa Congressman Steve King. Where's Steve? Where is Steve? Where is he? I wish he could get a little bit more conservative. Can you believe this guy? He may be, we're all he may be the world's most conservative human being. Thank you, Steve. And I supported him long before I became a politician. Do I have to use that term? Am I a politician? Thank you, Steve. And another great, great gentleman, so much help to me, Congressman Jeff Fortenberry. Thanks, Jeff. Great job, thank you. They're always with us. They are, those two, always with us. Another friend of mine, got to know him during the primaries, got to know him during the election. We took this state by storm. He helped, but I did even better than him. You know, you still need a product, right? But we did great, and we love the people of Iowa. We took Nebraska equally. By a lot. That wasn't close. Iowa GOP chair, friend of mine, Jeff Kaufman. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Great job, Jeff. Get ready, Jeff. We're coming back soon, Jeff. And from Nebraska, where's Tom Osborne? Oh, where's Tom Osborne? I don't know Tom Osborne. All I know, it's Tom Osborne, right? All I know is for years, all he knew how to do is win, just win. I mean, how good a coach was that guy? You know, there's a guy, again, I don't know him, never met him, but it's called no talk, all action. Isn't that nice? So all you did every year, you won. You better get going, Nebraska. Better get. But we have a governor who's done a fantastic job. He's so into so many different things, including cutting your taxes. And we have him with us, Governor Pete Ricketts. Pete. Great guy. Great. I think they like you, Pete. Vote for Ricketts. That's November, right? No, vote for Ricketts. He's got an opponent that doesn't have what you need. But still, you never know. You got to get out there and vote, right, Pete? Never vote. Great job, Pete. And Congressman Don Bacon. Incredible guy. Great job, Don. It's always there. He's always there, Don Bacon. He's always there. Thank you, Don. Great job. Appreciate it. Every time we needed him, he's there. Thank you. And Nebraska GOP Chair Dan Welch. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Dan. What a great group. And I am especially thrilled to introduce a person just to come up for a second to say a couple of words, because she has become a real star in the Republican Party and in politics. Kim Reynolds, she fights every day for the people of Iowa, and she always delivers, and wow, does she have my endorsement. She's incredible. Kim, please come up. Kim Reynolds. Kim Reynolds.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing! Thank you all for being here! This is incredible! Welcome back, Mr. President, to the great state of Iowa, and on behalf of all Iowans, I want to say thank you. Thank you for cutting taxes for hardworking Iowans, for eliminating senseless regulations that stifled innovation and jobs, for standing strong with Justice Kavanaugh and appointing conservative judges to the court. Thank you. Thank you for USMCA and for Chorus. And Mr. President, thank you for year-round E15. Our farmers, thank you. Iowans, thank you. And we are grateful. Promises made, promises kept. The Midwest has a partner in the White House with President Donald Trump. Woo! I'm real quick. It is an incredible honor to serve as the 43rd governor of this great state. And my story is the Iowa story. It's a reflection of the opportunities that exist here. We're a small town girl, daughter of a factory worker and farmer who waited tables, checked groceries, never gave up on her dream of getting a college degree, is standing before you today as the first female governor of the state of Iowa. I understand the challenges that everyday Iowans have faced because I've faced them myself. And that's why I'm proud that we focused on cutting taxes, expanding and growing jobs and wages and opportunities, addressing Iowa's healthcare needs, and creating strong and safe communities. Iowa is working, the Midwest is working, and we're getting things done. We're recognized as the #1 state in the country, second lowest unemployment, third best managed. Wages are going up, taxes are going down, our budget is balanced, and we're going to keep Iowa moving. We need your help. Republicans need your help. We need your support. And to do that, we have to show up. We have to go vote. And if you do that, I promise you, Republicans up and down this ticket are going to be a partner for our great president to keep the Midwest and moving forward and to keep the United States of America #1. God bless you. God bless the great state of Iowa and the United States of America.
Wow. Good energy. That's what you need, good energy. Thank you, Kim. Great. By the way, Kim's opponent this November is a radical Dem named Fred Hubble. He's got some problems. He's weak on crime, weak on borders, doesn't want any. Only wants to massively raise your taxes. He wants to take away your ethanol. What I'm giving you, he will take very quickly. Wants to devastate your farms and businesses with an avalanche of job-killing regulations that we just got rid of. Everybody get out and vote for Governor Reynolds on Election Day. Finally, I want to introduce another great Iowa Republican, Congressman David Young. When you sent David, he's a great guy. He's another one, fellas. He's with us. He's with us all the way. When you sent David to Congress, he voted to cut your taxes, cut your regulations, take care of our veterans. Our veterans, we love our Veterans' Choice. We got Veterans' Choice. After 44 years, we got Veterans' Choice. He voted, thank you very much. He voted to secure our borders, stop the visa lottery horror show. Can you imagine that? This is legislation. They put names in a bin. We pick names. Do you think they're putting their finest? We get these people a lottery. Can you believe? We want a merit system. We don't want a lottery system. We want a merit system. And we're going to get it. And we're on our way to get it. Need a few more votes. We got to get some Republicans. And he voted, and he believed this is somebody, he's not into the American military, but we are. We are really into the American rebuilt military. But David is a true champion of the military. He loves our military. He loves our vets. David, get on up here, David. Come up. Come here. Remember this, a vote for David is a vote for me in our agenda to make America great again. David, come up.
Wow, this is incredible. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you, Mr. President. It's such a pleasure to have you in Iowa. For years, presidents have made promises about E15 year-round. We've got a president who delivered, and he did it. Thank you for keeping your promise, Mr. President. Yeah. Look at the economy. 4.2% growth, 3.7% unemployment rate across the country, 2.5% unemployment rate here. Incredible things are happening, folks. Allowing hard-working Iowans to keep their hard-earned dollars. Opportunity, the American dream. Thank you, Mr. President. Rebuilding our military and signing into law the largest pay increase for our military in almost 10 years. Thank you, Mr. President. Securing our border, Mr. President. Thank you. And thank you for getting us out of that bogus Iran deal. Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Mr. President, for finally moving our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in Israel. And Mr. President, you are looking out for veterans. Thank you for that. Hey folks, elections are about choices, right? We can keep moving forward, or we can allow Nancy Pelosi and her hand-picked candidates to take us backwards. We cannot go backwards to higher taxes, more government, a weaker military, and the failed policies of the past. I need your support. We need your support. Talk to your friends. November 6th, vote. Go to davidyoungforiowa.com to volunteer. Thank you, Mr. President. God bless you. God bless this great country. God bless Iowa. God bless you.
Thank you, David. A vote for David's far-left opponent, Cindy Taxme. Remember that name, Cindy Taxme. It's a very good name, actually, for her. I guess it's actually Axne, but we call her Taxne. That was so easy. I didn't hear that one, but I don't know if anyone's thought it, but that's like a natural. is a vote for the radical agenda of Pelosi and Schumer and, of course, Maxine Waters. Tax Me opposed our massive tax cuts. That's why her name, she was born with the right name. And she wants a socialist takeover of health care, which is going to destroy our entire city. Cindy Axne is totally controlled by Pelosi and the extreme Washington liberals who are bankrolling her campaign, totally bankrolling her campaign. If you want to stop Nancy Pelosi from becoming, can you believe this, the Speaker of the House, then you need to vote for David Young, who is a terrific, terrific guy. Terrific guy. And you also need to vote for a great friend of mine who really, through just force of will, got us to put up millions of dollars to build a dam to stop your flooding in a very important part of Iowa, Congressman Rod Blum. Great guy. And I have to say, Rod is fighting to reform welfare, reduce crime, and continuously cut your taxes. Rod's opponent, Abby Finkenauer. Who the hell is that? Who is that? Is an extreme liberal who supports mass amnesty. Anybody like amnesty? For illegal aliens, wants to raise your taxes through the roof, and wants to take away your health care. So you got to vote for Rod Blum. Got to vote for David Young. You got to vote for these two characters over here who've been... we don't even bring them up because they're leading by so much. I said, I'm not going to waste the time. But get out and vote anyway, just in case, right? Just so you never know. You never know. A majority of House Democrats have already signed up for a socialist health care plan that would obliterate Medicare and eliminate Medicare Advantage for 20 million seniors. Republicans want to protect Medicare. We're protecting it for our great seniors who have earned it and paid for it all of their lives. Right? And we will always protect Americans with pre-existing conditions. We are going to protect Americans with pre-existing conditions. The Democrat agenda is radical socialism and open borders. The new platform of the Democrat Party is to abolish ICE. What a great idea. You know why? Because the people that work for ICE, they love our country, but they're very tough people. Guess what? That's what we need to take care of MS-13, all the gangs. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. Even you don't want to do it. I don't want to do it either. They're fantastic people. They love our country. And to them, it's a day in the office. For other people, they want no part of it. They want to turn America, these Democrats, and that's what they want, into a giant sanctuary for criminal aliens and the MS-13 killers that we're getting out of the country, by the way, by the thousands. Thousands. They've taken over towns in Long Island. I mean, literally, could happen to your community. They've taken over towns in Long Island. And we go in and we like liberate the towns. Can you believe towns that I grew up right next to? I know every one of them. And they go in and they have no fear and they take care of the situation. They get them the hell out of there or they put them in jail. They either send them back where they came from or they put them in jail. And they liberate Can you imagine we're saying this about places in our country? They liberate towns and small cities in different places of Long Island and others. They liberate them like we're taken over in a war and we get liberated. How sad, how pathetic. And if we didn't have ICE, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So we have to cherish our law enforcement. We have to protect our law enforcement. The Democrat immigration policies aren't just wrong, they're lethal. Republicans believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans, not for criminal aliens that sneak into our country. And Republicans stand proudly with the brave men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and our great law enforcement, including your great local law enforcement. If you want to have safe communities, if you want to have a border, then you must organize. Remember this, you don't have a border, you don't have a country, folks. Okay, let's face it. Let's face it. You know, we're doing things that are incredible outside, but things are happening. You'll see what happens. You take a look at what's going on with North Korea. They were ready to go to war with North Korea. Now we're getting along very nicely. It's working out very well. Look at Iran. Before I got there, Iran was going to take over the Middle East in like 12 minutes, right? Now they're trying to survive. We got riots in every city. So if you want to really just keep up what we're doing and keep this country, we have tremendous potential. You know, we're doing well. But we have tremendous potential to grow incredibly when we get rid of these horrible, disgusting trade deals. With China, over the last 5-6 years, we've been losing $300 to $500 billion a year. Billion! Nobody even knows what the hell it is so much. It's ending. It's ending. It's ending. And it's not just China. It's not just China. And what we do is we protect wealthy countries for nothing. For nothing. Would you say Saudi Arabia is wealthy? Yeah. Right? And I said to the king, you got to pay. I'm sorry, you got to pay. We're going to protect you, got to pay. Get the money, you got to pay. You got to pay. I have friends in the audience, they're good businessmen. They're looking like, you know, absolutely. But you're not a politician. A politician doesn't say, you got to pay. Japan is an immensely wealthy country. Great people. Prime Minister Abe just had a big election, won by a landslide. He's a friend of mine. But I said, look, we're protecting Japan. They're making a fortune. They're sending us millions of cars. We're not allowed to send them. They have barriers. We can't send them cars. But they send millions of cars into here. They pay essentially no tax, and we subsidize their military. When I say subsidize, I'm not talking about like for 2%. We pay for 70% of their military. Nobody knows this. And I said to the Prime Minister, who's a great guy, I said, how come? And he honestly says, nobody ever asked. When we straighten out this, we have so much potential. And there are many countries like that. I'm not looking at just those. There are many, many countries like that. And you know what? We should protect people that can't protect themselves and that are getting slaughtered. It's okay. It's okay. That's okay. And we're now building by far the strongest military that we've ever had. And the reason is, that when you have the strongest military ever in the history of this world, nobody's going to mess with you. These big guys know it over here. These people know it. I don't want to use our military. But this is a very dangerous world. This is a sick world in many ways, okay? It's a very, very, I mean, I see things as president that you don't want to know about. The things that I see, you don't want to know about. We have to be on guard for some really treacherous people that are running some places, and we are so prepared, you have no idea. We are so prepared. We are so prepared. Because this election is about security, and it's also about prosperity. Since the election, SEAL Team is right. Who's SEAL Team? A good-looking guy over there. That's good. SEAL Team, they're great. But since the election, we've created, nobody believes this. If I would have said this when I came to Iowa many times, or when I came to Nebraska many times, with your governor, if I would have said that we would create 4.2 million new jobs, the fake news media, look at this, like the Academy Awards back then. Look. The fake news would have said, oh, what he's saying, oh, it's so. Well, guess what? We created 4.2 million jobs just since the election. And we lifted over 4 million people off of food stamps. How good is that? We've added nearly 500,000 manufacturing jobs. African American unemployment has reached its lowest rate ever recorded in the history of our country. And African American poverty has reached its lowest rate ever recorded. And Kanye West, who gets it, and Big Jim Brown, how do you think he'd do in the NFL today? Bum, the greatest. But they're coming over to the White House very shortly. We're going to have a little lunch and talk about it, but they get it. How do you win when you hear those numbers? Because the Democrats for 100 years have been promising African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asians. They've been promising everything. Nothing happens. Here we are, less than 2 years, the best employment numbers, the best numbers they've ever had in virtually every category. Every category. Hispanic American and Asian American unemployment rates have also reached all-time lows. How do you beat us in 2020, Governor? Do you have any idea? What would you say? What would you say? We're going to do a great job, but we have the best numbers ever recorded. Those debates I look forward to. See, I said we were going to do that. Remember? What the hell do you have to lose? Remember that? Right? I said we were going to do it. But now we've done it. So how's somebody going to do better? But we're going to do much better than even that. Women's unemployment rate just fell to 3.6%, which is the lowest in more than 65 years. The only reason to vote Democrat is if you are tired of winning. We have finalized a new fair trade deal for South Korea. They don't even talk about it. That's a big deal. We just did a deal. Manufacturers, farmers. The deal was so bad. That was a Hillary Clinton deal. She said, no, she was Secretary of State. She made a statement today. They're doing a tour, her and her husband or something. And she made a statement, some ridiculous. I said, well, that's why she lost the election. She just doesn't get it. She's never gotten it. But she never got it in trade. So she said, we will create 250,000 jobs. And everybody was excited. Unfortunately, she was right, but it was created in South Korea, not in our countries. So, just another deal. Check it off. Just another horrible deal. We will create 250,000 You know, if she said for South Korea, at least it would have been honest, right? But we've totally renegotiated that. Under the guise of massive tariffs. I said, if you're not going to do it, we're just going to put tariffs and that's it. And they said, let's do it. Come on. Let's do it. Let's make a decent deal. And we've opened it up for your farmers, for your manufacturers. We've taken a horrible deal and made it a good deal. Made it a good deal. And now we're opening up, or we're going to do something where we do even better. But we're going to open up Japan for trade and the European Union, which is brutal. They are brutal. Sounds so nice. So nice. The European Union sounds so nice, right? They are brutal. But that's because they've had their way. They formed in order to take advantage of us on trade. Now, we protect most of those countries, European Union, NATO. We protect most. So Germany is paying 1%. We are paying 4.3% to protect Europe. Explain that one to me, okay, please? The numbers are horrific. But I've gotten $44 billion last year more paid into NATO by other countries. And this year will be more than that. That's why I say our country has such incredible potential. There's so many, I mean, I could go through so many things, just the same thing. They were going to build the embassy in Israel. As you know, we got approved, right? On my desk was a document to get ready to spend over $1 billion to build a building. I said, how do you spend $1 billion to build a building? I didn't look, but probably like one story. It's an embassy, right? 2 stories. $1 billion. And I said, maybe we can get a building and renovate it and fix it up real fast, and who knows? And our great ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, called. He said, you know, we have the best site in Jerusalem, and there's a beautiful building on it. And we could take just a big corner of that building, fix it up, and instead of waiting 20 or 25 years by the time this thing got worked out, we could have it in about 4 months, sir. I said, what do you mean the site's the best? He said, well, we were there early. We've had the site for many years. The building is good, but, you know, we have to renovate. So we're going to spend $1 billion and probably never get it opened, right? And by the way, if we spent $1 billion, it would end up costing $3 or $4 billion for, you know, people would look at it. Probably 1/3 the size of this room. They'll spend $2 billion. So I said, David, how much is it going to cost to do that? And how good is the site? Site's great. And, sir, the building is set way back, which is good for purposes of security. They like that. They don't want it right on the sidewalk. I can't imagine why. Set way back. He said, sir, it's beautiful. And it's a big site. We can do other things later. I said, how much is it going to cost? He said, sir, it's going to cost about $180,000. I told him, sir, no, think of it. True. $180,000. First time in my life I've ever done this. First time, don't get angry at me. I said, David, it's too cheap. It doesn't sound good. I never did that before. I never did it before. Like, I like to say, like Air Force One, we gave out the contract. They were going to give it out for $1.6 billion more than I gave it out for. They'll tell you. I said to Boeing, I'm not going to pay that price. And I said, I'm not paying it. Cancel the contract. I'm not paying it. And I held a line. I said, you got to take off $1.8 billion. They called back a day later. Supposing we took off $1.6 billion. I said, you have a deal, okay? I actually did. I actually said, cut it in half, okay? But we don't have to go through the whole deal. But with the embassy, I said, David, $180,000 is too cheap. We got to spend more than that. It doesn't sound good. But sir, I can do a really. I said, I know you can, but it's not going to play well. You mean we took it from $1 billion to $180,000? I said, David. I said, you know what, David? Make it $400,000. And use Jerusalem stone. Did anybody ever see it? It's the most beautiful stone. And you're in Jerusalem, right? I mean, what's probably most expensive stone when you bring it here. But you're in Jerusalem. They should have plenty of it, right? I said, David, use beautiful Jerusalem stone, and let's do it. We opened it up 4 months later for $400,000. Can you believe it? It's open. It's open. I could tell you many of these stories. I could tell you many. I could tell you so many of these stories. There's that story, and I got 30 more we could talk about. The way we spend. He says, I want to hear more. Should I give you one more of those stories? One story. So, we like South Korea. We've got 32,000 soldiers over there. Thank you very much, United States. They don't pay. They don't pay us, but they're very successful. And the Obama administration gave this incredible, it's all right. Don't worry, it's being mostly dismantled. Mostly dismantled. So my first week in office, I get there, and I noticed there's this incredible THAAD system to knock down rockets, shoots down missiles, most incredible thing you've ever seen. I think they got like a 97% shot at it. And the company likes to say, but if you send up 2 missiles, you get it 100%. But that's expensive. I said, do it with 1, right? So I get there, and brand new, they put in. I said, just out of curiosity, who pays for it? I said to a certain general, good guy, but you know, he's not into business. He's into winning wars, but they're not into business. They don't care. Okay, he's into winning, but not into business. He's got a little business too. So I said, so let me ask you something. How much does that system cost? Sir, I don't know. As a businessman, you, by the way, a good businessman, you know what I'm talking about. How much does that cost? Sir, I don't know. Who pays for it? Sir, I don't know. Now, you got to understand, the purpose of this is on the border. This is in the time when we were having a little problem, you know, at the beginning. A lot of people thought we were going to war, but we're doing nicely now. But I said, so let me get this. We have a system that's very expensive. And we shoot down rockets that are shot from North Korea to South Korea to shoot down. Okay, so we're protecting South Korea, right? Why aren't they paying? Well, I don't know. I said, General, immediately go and find out who's paying for it and how much. So he goes, next morning he comes into my office. Sir, we are an ally of South Korea, and therefore we are paying for the system, sir. I said, I thought so. Then I said, all right, give me the bad news. Raytheon, give me the bad news. How much is it going to cost? Sir, $1 billion. I said, whoa. Whoa! So we're putting in a system that we pay for, and it's going to cost $1 billion in order to protect an immensely wealthy country that makes all of your television sets, right? Samsung, LG, I order a lot of them, South Korea. And I'm trying to figure that out, Steve King, as a true conservative, but I'm trying to figure it out. So we do this, and I said, do me a favor, go back to the country, renegotiate that deal. That's not a good deal. But sir, the Obama administration has already agreed to it. I said, I don't care if they agreed to it. I couldn't care less if they agreed to it. I don't care. So that's the second or third story. I could go on all night, but I want to get the hell out of here, okay? Because I thought I was coming to Iowa, and there's more people from Nebraska. Right, Pete Ricketts? Pete Ricketts. Governor Ricketts. We love you both. We love you both. After years of rebuilding other nations, I could give you 30 stories. I could give you 100 stories like that. We're finally rebuilding our nation. That's what we're doing. America is not being taken advantage of anymore. America is being respected again. With Republicans in Congress, we passed the biggest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. A big number. So important for the farmers and small business to save your family farms and ranches. We virtually eliminated the estate tax, also known as the death tax. So now, if you like your children or love your children, you can leave your beautiful farm to your children and they won't have to pay any taxes. They won't have to go to your local banker, borrow money, and end up losing the farm, which was happening. Now you won't have any. Do you guys know that? That's a big deal. That's a big deal, Jeff and Steve and everybody. That's a big deal. Because people are leaving their farms, they go out, they mortgage their farm, then the kids end up going through hell and losing their farms. So now you won't have to go to the bank, borrow money, put a mortgage on. But here's the thing. If you don't like your kids, or if you don't love your kids, it doesn't have any impact on you. Sell the farm, enjoy yourselves, and relax. Don't give them anything. Don't give them anything if you don't like them. Don't give them anything. We're reducing the price of prescription drugs to help critically ill patients access life-saving treatments. We pass, and right to try, right to try. We all know what it is. We have right to try now. For years, people wanted to access some of these cures that work, but they can't get approved because it's a long process, which we've cut way down. Right to try. They were terminally ill, and they couldn't get treatment of something that may work. We just signed right to try, and these guys helped a lot, right? Steve, Jeff, everybody. They helped a lot. David was great, David Young. So now you get the right to try. People used to travel all over the world if they had money. If they didn't have money, they'd go home. They had no hope. Now they can get treatment. They sign a document, they can get treatment. They tried for 40 years to get that passed. We got it passed. Right to try. I love it. We also passed Veterans' Choice, giving our veterans the right to see a private doctor. Big thing. 44 years. 44 years they've tried to get it passed. People are waiting online for 12 days, for 20 days, for 28 days. People aren't that sick by the time they see the doctor. Seriously, they're terminally ill. They couldn't see a doctor. Now we have the right to let them go see a private doctor. We pay for the bills. It's great for them. It actually is saving for us. 44 years. 44 years. 44 years. I thought it was my idea, but then I came back and I said to them, what a great idea. They said, we've been trying to get it passed for 44 years. I mean, how simple, right? 44 years. But because of guys like this, right? Steve, Jeff, everybody, Governor, you were incredible. Pete Ricketts. Pete, you helped so much. All of you guys. And the landmark VA accountability law. You couldn't fire anybody. They were literally, there were sadists working for the VA. There were bad people. There were thieves. Horrible people. You couldn't fire them. We passed, I think it's 46, 47 years. Look, I hate to say it, union problems, all sorts of problems, civil service problems. Pretty strong lobby, right? We got it passed. 44, 46 years. And now when we catch people that aren't taking care of our veterans, we look at them, we say, Jim, you're fired. Get out of here. It's true. You know, they don't spin the cameras. Fellas, I said at the beginning, spin. Now, nobody does it. Because they don't want to show how big these crowds are. No, I'm telling you, they don't want to show it. They don't want to show it. Look, they're not spinning. Do you see one camera turning? No, they don't want to show all these people. They don't want to show it. I don't see one camera turning. They don't want to show it. Our great First Lady, I come home. I said, did they show the crowd? No, but it sounded massive. Right? It looks like an Iowa State or Nebraska football game. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Right? That's what it sounds like. So my wife would say, they didn't show the crowd, but it sure as hell sounded big. You know, when you have crowds like this, you can't cheat on the sound. I mean, it's a lot of people. But they cheat because they never show the crowd. We secured $716 billion to fully rebuild our great American military. And at my direction, the Pentagon is now working to create the sixth branch of the American Armed Forces, the Space Force. Very important, very important. We got to get that done, Congressman. Everybody wants that, so important. For years, you watched as your leaders apologized for America. They apologized. Now you have a president who is standing up for America. We are standing up for your values. We are standing up for Iowa and Nebraska. And we are proudly standing up for our great national anthem. And by the way, speaking of the NFL, no, it's okay. But you know, for years, the NFL had a big problem with Canada and the Super Bowl and rights. It's a complicated thing, but it doesn't matter. And I heard about the problem, and we were dealing with them on a much, much, much bigger issue. And the NFL is a great American company. And I told my people, get the damn NFL problem solved. It took them about 2 minutes. And I got a call from the commissioner. I thought he was calling about the flag. I thought he was going to say, we have fully agreed that we are all going to stand at attention with our hand on our heart, helmet on the ground, and salute. He didn't. But a good guy, he called me to thank me. You know why I did that? I did that. Nobody told me to do it. I did that because I knew they had a problem. And it's a great American company. Whether we like it, don't like it, doesn't matter. It's a great American company. And so I got it done. I got it done. Took us like 2 minutes. And you know what? Now the players will be paid more money and they'll still hate me. Isn't that terrible? They'll still hate Trump and they get more money, but that's okay. That's why guys like Jim Brown and Kanye and so many others like me. But to continue our incredible momentum, you have to get your friends, get your family, get your neighbors, get your coworkers, and get out and vote or early voting. Get out and vote or early voting. Vote for Governor Kim Reynolds. Vote. I just thought you were coming here as my guest. Pete, I thought you were coming here just today. Come on over, Pete. Vote for Pete Ricketts. I didn't know you were bringing half of Nebraska, Pete. Vote for Congressman Rod Blum and Congressman David Young. Don't bother with these two guys. They're going to win. Vote for them, too, please. Vote for them, too. That's right, Steve. They're going to vote for you guys. Thank you, and thank you. Vote for Republicans. You're doing the right thing, because a vote for us is a vote for lower taxes, less regulation, and more products that are made right here in the USA. That's what we're doing. It's a vote to respect our borders, respect our Constitution, and respect the heroes of law enforcement. And a vote for Republicans is a vote to reject the Democrat politics of anger, division, and destruction. And you know what else? You know what else? And weakness, because it's weakness. And to reclaim our magnificent destiny as Americans. To everyone in this great room tonight, to every citizen watching across our land, and there are a lot of them, this is your time to choose. So important. You got to get out. You got to vote. It'll all be taken away if they get control, including they'll start appointing Supreme Court judges that you will not want. We'll have justices that you will say, how did this happen? You got to get out and vote. It's time to choose whether we turn backward to the failure and frustrations of the past, or whether we continue forward into a future of American greatness. Never forget that in 2016, we had the greatest movement in the history of our country. And they won't challenge that. They even admit that. They're not happy about it. They're not happy. But that was the greatest movement in the history of our country. It is not up to the media or the fake news or the pundits to decide your fate. It is up to you. You have the power. With your vote, you can do so much, but you can defend your family, defend your community, defend your country, defend your rights, your faith, and your dignity. Loyal citizens like you, Iowa and Nebraska, helped build this country. And together we are taking back our country, returning power back to the American patriots, which is you. These states were settled by tough pioneer men and strong pioneer women. The women actually were stronger than men, but I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that. The women are stronger than the men. I've said it for a long time. Sorry, men. Sorry, you guys. You know what I'm talking about, right? They're all nodding. You're right. Who have braved the wilderness and defied the dangers to build a life and a home right here. They didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of luxury. But they all had one thing in common. They loved their families, they loved their country, and they loved their God. These courageous patriots did not shed their blood, sweat, and tears so that we could sit at home while others tried to erase their legacy and destroy our proud American heritage. For the sake of our freedom and for the sake of our children, we are going to work, we are going to fight, and we are going to win, win, win. We will not bend. We will not break. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never surrender. And we will always fight on to victory. Because we are American. And our hearts bleed
red, white, and blue. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Iowa. Thank you, Nebraska. Thank you. Get out and vote.
All right, folks, that was an amazing speech. The energy in the room is through the charts, folks. As you guys can see, this is a huge crowd as the camera is panning the whole arena where the president just gave his speech. We're in Council Bluffs, Iowa, but it looks like there's more people from Nebraska in Iowa than people from Iowa. It's crazy. And it totally caught the president by surprise, and that was pretty hilarious. That was really funny. But as you guys can see, the big... give me a second here. All right, so the big announcement was about ethanol, and that is a way that the president is right now. He's trying to help out the farmers. That's the best way to challenge China, because China is targeting the farmers. And that's the best way for the president to help out the farmers. But anyways, the president is going to be leaving soon. If you guys enjoyed our live stream, make sure you guys smack the like button. And also make sure that you guys share this live stream. That you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new. And also, if you would like to help out Golden State Times get to the next rally that is actually going to happen tomorrow, then if you guys can subscribe by using... I can't even talk right now. I'm so sorry, folks. Let me try that one more time. If you guys liked our coverage and you guys want to subscribe to the channel, you guys can do that. You guys click the notification bell. That way you get a heads up when we go live. There's another Trump rally tomorrow. It's happening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, live here at Golden State Times. If you would like to help out, the channel, there's a few ways of doing it. You can do it through Super Chat. You can also do it through PayPal at paypal.me/GST live. And also you guys can share the live streams, share our videos and stuff like that. That always helps out the channel immensely too. So whichever way you choose to help out the channel, thank you so much in advance. Sorry I can't talk, folks. It's just been such a long day. It's not even funny, but we had an awesome rally, and I'm very proud that we were able to show the crowd and do everything else you guys expect from us. So thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. Like I said, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click the notification bell. That way you get a heads up tomorrow when we go live for another Trump rally. There's going to happen 2 more Trump rallies are going to happen in this week. So there's one tomorrow, like I said, and then there's one on Friday and Saturday. And then next weekend, not this weekend is coming up, but the following weekend, Politicon is going to be live here at Golden State Times. So Politicon, not this weekend, next weekend, folks. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We have press passes, and we're going to be there live. So thank you so much for choosing us as your stream of choice, like I said, and I hope to see you guys here next time. My name is Jet. I'm from Golden State Times, and I'll see you soon. Peace. Yeah, I wanted to say something real quick. There's a lot of patriots that are now sharing the live streams and the videos on their groups that they have on Facebook and maybe even on Twitter and on Reddit and maybe even 4chan and 8chan. So thank you so much for everyone that is sharing the live streams, the videos, and everything like that on those groups. That helps out the channel so much because it gives us a better outreach, and it lets the people know, it lets patriots know that we have a Trump rally going on or a speech or anything like that. Earlier today, we also had a live stream of the State Department press briefing, and we might have one tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to check on that. And but yeah, so thank you so much for sharing the live stream on not only social media, but also on those groups. I know that those groups have a lot of patriots that are very interested in watching President Trump's speeches or maybe even White House announcements, State Department briefings, White House press briefings, and all that good stuff. So thank you so much in advance. If you missed the speech, any part of it, if you got here maybe halfway or whichever, then it's going to be uploaded on the channel in just a few minutes. So make sure you guys check back here live at Golden State Times so you guys can watch the whole thing in case you missed it. Thank you.